Good morning, people. I am going to try and do a long run through of the whole, uh, basically, quantum cyclic cosmology, but at the sort of early evolution part of the situation. So let's just first talk about compact. Compact time, compact. Uh, a typical linear type of compactification would be like that, and then you wrap it around into a circle instead, and then you develop a sort of modulus thing where the furthest away from this point going this way, right, we're going to go away from the start, is here, which is the same place as the start. So you've come back to your origin. By proceeding forward, you have come back to your origin regardless. There's a closure. Okay. So then on the we'll scale it up, and now we're going to do area. So let's keep it at ball, but now this is a sphere, and it rests on this huge. When we get this big, this is how big this universe is. I just set some boundaries. It's a closed universe, but we could make it an open plane. It just gets to infinity here, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to project this up onto this. What happens is that this part takes up only that much room. And what happens is the gradient gets higher and higher, and it gets tighter and tighter. So you end up with a ball with a density gradient there, because all this space has been wrapped up into there. So it's very high density up there. Okay, so now that we have this creature, it might remind people of a form of Riemann sphere. Anyways, there we go. So now we have a surface that represents all possible energy states, all possible energy densities. And if you attribute, like, maybe your approach angle to the vector associated with the energy flow, you still get the same speed increase sort of thing. First, there we go. So now we've got our gradient. This is the compact, but there isn't the modulo aspect when you do only a closure like this. And as well, we know, so we've got compact, there's a regular compact space, but we know that the universe, or it seems like the universe, has 720 degrees to it because of that weird electron thing. So it's like there's the outside and the inside of this, and that would give us the reverse angles on everything, because it would be the inside measurement, not the outside measurement, even though they would be the perfect reciprocal of each other, right? And we'd still have exactly the gradient, so we'd sort of counterbalance it, and then we'd have our counterpart 360 degrees with this orientation, 360 degrees with the other orientation. But these 2 points, they're still not the modulo. These 2 points don't connect. With Shirley's surface, where basically you're taking this and pushing it in, and taking this and pushing it down until these 2 points meet. And then what you get is a toroidal appearing shape. But the vector is actually straight through, preserving angular momentum. And I'll post that vortices from Brownian motion. So if you have a Brownian motion in a superfluid, what happens is you get spontaneous vortice formation as a way of preserving angular momentum, because you're sort of just going straight, and this one's just going straight, and this one's just going straight, and then you end up forming a vortice. And that way you can have all these semi-congruent flow angles. Okay, so the similar thing here, only this has got the gradient. So the bottom, it would be 1 unit, and then this gets very, very dense and less dense and less dense. There we go. So now the 720 degrees is a flow from going out to going in, one, and then you're coming down. So you're on the outside. I'm not going to perform a twist. I am just following the line. And now you are on the inside, facing out. You have been inverted. This is the point of catastrophe. This is like renormalization. It's where you go past the catastrophe and now you're the inverse of what you used to be. The 720 degrees, 360. There's always 360 degrees of matterness simultaneously with 360 degrees of antimatterness. It's just the whatever the antimatter is. Like right now on the antimatter side of the universe, the antimatter me is looking at me and going, oh, that antimatter that exists hidden inside of me, because this universe is the pocket universe of the other universe, and they're each the pocket universe of each other, and they're the reciprocal, is my theory. Okay, this allows a perfect flow through here because there is no curve even. There's no stress on it. It is just a flow. It's a continuous flow. Seamless flow. And it has a gradient. So that looks a lot like gravity to me. And this would be deep void. Neutron decays in deep void, takes up 1 meter of space. Gravity slowly pushes it and pushes it and pushes it, and it becomes a nucleon. First it becomes like proton-electron soup. Undetectable because they're not paired properly. And if the electron is not resonant with the, like if it's not a resonant construction, and there's 1 electron for that proton, then you can't get proper resonance so that we could detect it. Then it becomes the proton-electron complex, either as a hydrogen atom when it's a single one, or as a proton-electron complex in any molecule as a nucleon. Eventually, this proton-electron complex in helium will become a neutron again, because the electron capture, beta decay reverse happens, and now we've got a neutron. And the neutron is the last stage before you become singularity event horizon. And at that point, then you get shuffled via Einstein-Rosen bridge to wherever the lowest energy point is, because this is geometry. If you're entering at the highest points, you don't have a dial where you can select where you can be. I really just don't think anybody's ever going to achieve that. And if these aliens achieve it, I'll be really impressed, okay? No, they perform more physical tricks, really good ones. So, Einstein-Rosen bridge, you have to end up at the lowest energy point because that's the way the universe works. So you get spewed out at the lowest energy point where you're a neutron, and you decay into proton-electron soup, 1 meter. And over here, you were only 0.6 femtometers, which is an expansion factor of 10 to the 45, which is pretty big. This is dark energy, the expansion that happens in deep voids. This is why deep voids geometrically sort of swell out and create the tendrils in between them. We can't see what's in there, but they're like heat cells expanding out. And yes. And at the at the quantum level, let's erase a bunch of stuff. Okay, so that was at sort of the matter level, right? Talking about neutrons, whole objects already. But let's take it back and just have this this form that allows a flow, right? Because of its construction, it allows a seamless flow through this notch point. Where if this was an inflow, this will be an outflow, because c'est la vie. Where there's for every divergence, there is a convergence. Eventually, the fields have to have closure. This is a truth of nature. This is like thermodynamics in a way. It's the field version of thermodynamics, I guess. So, oh yes. So, let's just imagine dielectric fluid space. We're going to create quantum effects now. Dielectric fluid space flowing through a pore. It condenses, makes a singularity, then it punctures its way through, it's into itself, and now is a pore. On one side, we have a confluence of fluid, which creates a positive charge. And on the other side, we have a dispersal of that fluid. Now, no doubt someplace else in space, there's another one of these pores that's doing exactly the same thing, only in reverse. And that's exactly how you sort of get texture. You're going to get a positive charge over here and a negative charge over there. And even on sides, there's a proton over here, because there's this divergence from space. I mean, the fluid is flowing in from space. So when you look down into this, you see divergence because it's converging here, right? And here you would see mostly divergence. So that's because the way down the deep, there is a convergence. It's just basically only at that point there. But now we've got charge developing first out of dielectric flow. And then the reciprocal happens with the nuggets of space, the neutrons, following a similar path. But because each one is a charged pair, they can flow seamlessly because they have no charge. They're causing no stress. This is why neutrons. And so that's a sort of summation of Shirley's surface, how it applies to both gravity, compactification, gradient. The gradient itself is gravity, right? We created a gradient. There was a lesser and a more. And you have a flow. And that's been sort of the problem, because you're flowing up. The very first catastrophe was time, and that allowed the flow. It was the first puncture. And now we're all using that puncture to keep on flowing. Okay, peace.